Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Been a couple weeks since I last posted, but I've been working on this video for a little while now, and I wanted to wait until after wipe to post it once people come back to the game. Today we're going to be talking about Skeleton Warlord, largely considered to be the hardest boss in the game, and we're going to be tackling him solo, in HR with a longsword. Because Warlord is so difficult, the artifacts that are locked behind Warlord are some of the rarest and most expensive in the game. We're talking about stuff like Fulgore, Pulverizing Prayer, Kuma's Claw, Kuma's Fang. So if you're interested in getting those big ticket artifact items, you're in the right place. First thing we're going to talk about is build. We're running a Divine Blade setup here, and it's full PvE spec. So we have our undead damage, we haven't built any health or almost any move speed for PvP, so we're really trying to avoid players. All we're doing here is trying to kill the boss and get out. This kit costs about 2k, it's pretty budget, and all we're trying to do is build as much strength and action speed as you can for Warlord. For example, in this setup I have 21% physical power bonus and 12% action speed. I'd recommend using the cat skin if you have it, just for a little bit more dexterity. And here are the perks in case you want to copy them. Swift is pretty important, just to have enough move speed to dodge. Sword Mastery is great for some more damage, and the rest are up to you. This is for PvP if I have to, Weapon Mastery, and then Counterattack helps get out of the way of the explosions on the parries, but we'll talk more about that in the boss fight. So once you have a setup that looks something like this, basically just get strength and action speed as cheap as you can, and get into the tutorial. One thing I almost forgot to say is that the boss room is pretty hard to find now. With Fog of War and Random Dungeon in HR, you just have to load into ruins and run around crypts until you find the boss room. There's no smarter way than that, at least at this point in time. All that being said, let's get into the boss fight. Step 0 is to drop a torch on the ground near the door where you came in. This lets you know the door that you entered through in case you need to get out quickly. The first thing Warlord will do is charge up this big attack that will one-shot everyone in the room, unless you're standing in this circle. This is an HR only feature, and it's pretty easy to dodge the first time, but he will do it every cycle before he summons the adds, and me and my friends have died countless times to forgetting that he was going to make another circle. The next step is that he's going to summon all of his adds. I looked it up, by the way, and fun fact, adds is short for additional enemies, so it's ADD, adds. I've heard that term used a lot, but I never knew where it came from, so now you know. Step 2 is Warlord summons all the adds. After he summons the adds, he will create a pizza slice, so this blue triangle on the ground where the player's standing. And if you stand in here too long, you'll get rooted in a bone prison that you can break out of. Sometimes the adds will even break you out too. After the pizza slice, we're gonna call it, Warlord will command one add at random to teleport behind the player, and backstab, you can dodge this just by strafing to the side. And then after the teleport, Warlord will command all the adds to throw knives at the player. This is probably the most dangerous part of the adds phase. Surprise! If you're liking the video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Goodbye. And you can dodge this also just by side strafing. It always comes after the teleport, so just once you hear that happen behind you, it's like this whooshing sound when they TP behind you. Make sure you're strafing to the side. Then Warlord will repeat those steps starting from the pizza slice. So he'll create a second pizza slice wherever you're standing at that point in time. Then he will command another add to teleport behind the player and backstab. And then he will command all adds to throw knives at the players again. It is really important that you've killed all the adds at this point, because if you do not, the Warlord will now destroy all the adds and he will absorb their souls, making him stronger. So it's really important that you kill them all before he gets to absorb them. Assuming you've killed all the adds, then we're going to move on to the 1v1 phase. So Warlord starts the 1v1 phase by summoning 3 crystals that rotate clockwise around the boss room. Surprise! If you're liking the video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Goodbye. These crystals shoot out a beam of energy towards the center of the boss room that deals a ton of damage if you pass through it. So make sure you're remaining conscious of where the beams are in the room. The crystals also boost the Warlord's stats, but it's manageable. I don't think it's necessary to kill the crystals. Once these crystals spawn, you're going to want to find a spot in the room where you have a lot of space between 2 of these crystals, and now we're going to duel the Warlord. There are 6 different types of attacks that Warlord can do during this duel phase, and I'll show you an example of each one and how to dodge or parry it. One thing I want to point out is that even though I'm using a longsword, there's only one attack that I am parrying on the Warlord 1v1 phase. I tried with the other ones, but every time you parry HR Warlord, it makes this circle on the ground that explodes and deals a lot of damage. So parrying is pretty hard. It's totally possible. You can find videos of people parrying, I think, every attack, which is pretty badass. But I spent hours and hours trying to learn all the parries, and most of them were pretty inconsistent for me. I just parry the one that's really easy. I think you guys will have a pretty easy time doing it as well. And I just use regular attacks through the rest, and I still think I get the job done pretty quickly and more consistently since I'm not dying to the more difficult parries. So with that being said, let's talk about the 6 different attacks. First up is this horizontal slash that I dodge by crouching and moving to the left. There's this up and left slash that I dodge by crouching and moving left. Then we have this up and right slash that you dodge by crouching and moving to the right. Then we have the fan of knives. You need to turn around, walk away, and crouch. We have an overhead attack that I dodge by moving to the right. I crouch out of habit. And this is the one we're gonna parry. It's really nice. Just goes right across your sword, down and to the right. And on the parry here, there are 2 things you need to look out for. You can continue to combo after this, so don't let it catch you off guard. And you need to make sure you take a couple steps to the side to get out of the explosion on the ground after you land the block. Forgive me for kind of giving short shrift to the dodging and blocking in the 1v1 phase, but in my experience, the only real way to learn this is through practice. I watched some other guides on YouTube when I was learning, and I spent a lot of time trying to identify the pose that Warlord would make that indicated a certain attack, instead of just getting reps in, because to be honest, it's a pain in the ass to get reps in, especially now with Fog of War, random dungeon, and circle. It's going to be extra hard, but that's really the best way. You have to get a feel for it. It's not a very academic thing, the dodging, at least in my mind. You just kind of gotta get a feel for when to dodge left and when to dodge right. So I can't recommend enough getting reps in, but if you want to just see me do it, I'm gonna put a full boss kill at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that part. Now that we have an understanding of the mechanics and the different actions that Warlord or the ads can take, I want to go through the boss fight just with some more tips and tricks that I have and tell you what I'm thinking about. After this, I'm going to do one with no voiceover and a chart instead, so if you want to watch it 100 times, you don't have to hear my voice and get sick of me. So one thing I want to talk about in the ads phase is that I'm purposefully starting on the loot room side of the boss room, and then you can see here I'm circling around the ads to get closer to the loot room side again. The reason why I'm doing this is because he'll spawn with pizza slices wherever you're standing, and there's less space to fight. See how I'm kind of in a corner over here? This corner doesn't exist on the loot room side because the loot room is taking up that space. So it's good to have the pizza slices over there because it means you have more space over on the other sides of the room to fight the boss. So I hope that makes sense. Basically what I'm trying to say is right now I have all this space because the pizza slices are, cornered over there. Another thing I wanted to talk about is in this 1v1 phase, one realization I had that really helped me survive longer is that this boss isn't a boss that you just circle one way the whole time like Troll or Cyclops or whatever. Your goal should be dodge by moving to the left or right, and then always try to get back to center because you don't know if the next attack will require you to go left or right. And if you go left for too long, then it's harder to get around to the right. So between every attack, try and get right in front of Warlord again. In the second round of ads, I don't worry too much about where I'm standing anymore. At this point, we're getting close to the end of the boss fight, so I'm not too stressed about where the pizza slices end up. One little tip is that the crystals have hitboxes that can block the knives. You can kind of hide behind the crystal like I did there if you want to. Another thing is that while the crystals are spawning, if you get against one of the walls that is not the loot room wall, you can avoid getting hit by the crystals, because sometimes you get hit by the crystals as they spawn, and that really sucks. But if you hug the wall, you can avoid that problem. Oh, and I want to say that you can totally do Warlord in the storm if you don't get a good circle. I've done the whole thing in the storm before, and it only costs you a little bit of time drinking extra potions. You can see that even though I killed all the ads, Warlord is moving a little faster and his sword is longer. So this is just a function of having 2 sets of crystals active. It also makes the circle on the ground bigger too. I don't know how I didn't die there, by the way. That was really lucky. I should have got hit in the face right there. Typically I'm killing Warlord by around the end of the second 1v1 phase or the beginning of the third. So at this point, I just kind of have a feeling that Warlord is like 1 HP. I just gotta make it through this next ads phase and then I'm done. One piece of advice for the ads phase is like, they always spawn spread out and they group up as they run towards you. So getting the first parry doesn't really matter that much, like during the first pizza slice. But after they've TP'd and they've thrown knives once through that first cycle, you can just clear out the whole horde with a couple parries. So the damage on the ads is kind of backloaded, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, look at this guy go now. He has 3 sets of crystals. And that's it. Boom. After you kill the Warlord, what you're going to want to do is open up the body, casually grab your Fulgore, and get the hell out of Dodge. In reality, I freaked out during this clip. I just didn't have my microphone recording, but basically I made the loudest gasp known to man and then kind of panicked and ran to find a blue. And I got out. So this is why we're here. Warlord is the best way to get the really, really top tier artifacts. So this could be you now that you've seen this video. That's just about all the information I have to share about Warlord. The next thing I'm going to do here is something I've done in previous videos, and it was well received, so I hope you all find it useful. But I am going to do like a color-coded chart type of breakdown of the boss fight with no voiceover. So if you're just trying to get an idea of which moves are happening in which order or what you're supposed to do about it, stick around for this next part. There's going to be a guide at the bottom you can see here, which tells you which phase we're in. Top row is what action the boss is taking, and then the bottom row is what action you're supposed to take to avoid that action. Keep in mind that in the boss 1v1 phase, you should be crouching to dodge every single attack. So that's kind of implicit there. Now I'm going to shut up and let this section of the guide play through. you're still here, thank you so much for watching the video all the way through. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. And I hope everyone's enjoying the wipe so far. Until next time, good luck finding the boss room.